Hello, family and friends. It's Miss Christine in her yoga studio. Miss Chloe is here. She's the director today. That's why she's off camera. And Miss Yogi is back here to help us with our demonstration today. Oh, I love these bells. Today we are going to cover another iconic pose called Child's Pose. And it's actually very similar to what we did last week with our knees to chest pose on our back. Child's Pose is done with your face facing down, and it's basically almost the same thing. It is utilized through any part of a yoga session, from the warm-up to the cool down and anywhere in between. And in fact, you can do this pose in the middle of a yoga session even when the teacher hasn't directed you to go into Child's Pose. It's a restful, restorative pose. So if you're feeling stressed or tired, you need a break, you can take yourself into Child's Pose while the rest of the class is doing something else. Nobody in a yoga class will say anything else to you. The benefits of Child's Pose are that it strengthens and stretches your ankles, your knees, your thighs, your hips, so anything below the waist is strengthened and stretched. It also stretches your spine and your neck. Your circulation is really increased in this pose, and it bathes your central nervous system. So that increases your flexibility, increases your muscular function, but it does something else. It does something to your spirit. It relieves tension, it calms you down, it gives you a feeling of peace. And if you combine it with box breathing, which I will explain in a minute, you might even get a feeling of euphoria. Woo! Box breathing is when you breathe into the count of 2 and you breathe out to the count of 2. Inhale, exhale. It's just even breathing. And in Child's Pose, it can really be beneficial. So let us get on our knees and make sure that we get into spinal alignment. We will be getting into Child's Pose from tabletop today. So get off my booster. I'm going to get on my knees, and notice I have a little padding for my knees, and I'm going to make sure that my head, my heart, and my pelvis are aligned. Tummy's pulled in, shoulders are back and down, neck is long, and the crown of my head is being pulled up to the heavens. Now this pose, when we get into this pose, it's a sitting forward bend pose. We're going to do forward bending pose. We're going to do 2 big actions at the same time while we exhale. A lot to think about. Sitting back, our butt is going to go to our heels. Our heart is going to melt to the floor along with our forehead. So let's get over and get into our most perfect tabletop. Knees in line with our hips, hands in line with our shoulders. Pull tummy in, pull shoulders back, and get your back as flat as possible. Now bring your big toes together, and you can either leave your knees in line with your hips, or you can bring your knees out to the edge of your mat in a wide-legged stance, wide-kneed stance. I find this is more comfortable for me because it gives me more room to breathe. But either way is fine. There's just 2 different versions here, and you get to experiment with what feels best for you. So, we're going to inhale. As we exhale, we're going to move our bottom back to our heels and melt our heart and forehead down to the earth. Swing your arms around to your sides with your palms up. Your head is facing down, and close your eyes. Child's Pose. Breathe in, 1, 2. Breathe out, 1, 2. In, 1, 2. Out, 1, 2. As you're breathing, you may find you can sink even further closer to your heels. If you can't reach your heels all the way, that's okay. It takes time to get there. That's a flexibility issue. Keep breathing. And keep those shoulders back. You don't want to do this. You don't want to collapse. You want to keep active. So this is a restful, restorative pose, but you're still active. Now come back up on all fours. And I'm going to show you one more version. As you're coming down, slide your hands out in front of you into what's called extended child's pose. Your teacher may ask you to come up on your fingertips. This is extended child's pose. Your knees can be in or your knees can be out. So you actually have many different versions of this. You have wide-legged with your arms next to you, classic with your legs right underneath your hips and your arms next to you, or you have both of those versions with your arms out in front. By the way, when you put those arms out front, that really gives you a good stretch in your shoulders too. You may have noticed, I don't know if I did it this time, but if you have feet problems, laying your feet in plantar flexion like that, flat, may bother you if you have feet problems. So you can go up on your toes in dorsiflexion if that's more comfortable. Sometimes I go back and forth between both because I have really bad arthritis in my feet. So plantar flexion sometimes is a little bit irritating. It's fine. And like I said before, if you can't get your bottom to your heels, it just takes time and practice. Now I want to point out a couple props. The old, safe, good old block. This is not cheating. You are going to bring the earth closer to your forehead. It's not cheating. Just lay your forehead on the block. And there's three different ways. Your block can be that way, or that way, or that way. Whichever way you can get your forehead to. Okay? A block. You can't have a yoga class without a block, as far as I'm concerned. If it bothers you to lean against your calves, or you need something back here to help you a little bit, a nice flat blanket or pillow can be placed right in the back of your knees for that. People that do chair yoga will have a chair in front of them, and they will place their hands on the chair and just put their forehead on the chair in chair yoga. The big thing to remember is that you need to keep your shoulders back. You don't want to collapse. You want them back, and you want your tummy tucked in. At the end of the day, you need to remind yourself that you have done the best you can do at everything you tried. And that is all that you need to do. Namaste. See you next time. Bye-bye.